All right, everybody, welcome. My name is Frederick Jones, and I am the publisher of Saturday AM, the founder of My Footprint Entertainment, which is the company that created Saturday AM, publishes Saturday AM in a variety of publications. It is a real pleasure to chat with you all today. I'm looking forward to basically catching up on a couple of things that we've been wanting to touch on for quite a while. One is some of the exciting news that we have. So, as I was saying before, this is one of the truly lame things about when you're a small company and you're trying to get things moving in the right direction is that you have, our technology that we're using is really stuff that is available to everybody from the internet. In this case, we're using Google Hangouts, which frequently has outages. On top of that, I use a Google Chromebook for a percentage of the uh, I beside myself with the silliness that's going on with Google right now. But anyways, yeah, I think the haters that we had in the last couple of months. A gentleman named not a gentleman, but a young man named Eric John Russell, who stated to us that we were not real, that we weren't part of the comic community, which is ridiculous. Uh, and he's certainly no one of stature that we should be worried about in terms of whether or not he thinks, in terms of what his vote means us being considered part of the comic community. There's another young man named Joshua Michael Harper, whatever, who had said to me some very ridiculous statements about how we were failing and so forth. And so before the video stopped, you know, and I think it's apropos that it stopped as I was calling out these two individuals, and there are more, but those are two particular individuals that I think deserve to be called out. That this is the real world, you know. Perhaps in another lifetime or reality where people of color got huge amounts of investment for just ideas that they had, the way that we see a lot of people in Silicon Valley get money for very little activity and very little original ideas. Perhaps if we were living in that world, you know, these individuals did not feel the need to try to attack us, and then conversely, the stuff that we're doing would be smoother. You know, this video would be nicer. I'd be in a studio, yada yada. But the people who really get what we do, the people who supported us from day one, I think part of the reason why we've made it for a year anniversary, we're actually coming up on our second year anniversary of publishing Saturday AM, but this is our first year anniversary for Manga, which is our community for serious webcomic creators. And I think the thing I think is so apropos about the video, and the fact the video stops and things like that, and the fact that we continue to do these things, is that it has always been about, not about me, not about White Manga or Raymond Brown, any of our creators. It's always been about the little guy. It's always been about us trying to shine a serious light and put a serious path together for people who do not have the money, who do not come from the biggest countries, who do not have the right skin tone or whatever the issues would be, doesn't have the right chromosome if they are a young woman. We've really tried to, from the very beginning, challenge the idea that only certain groups of people get to create content that inspires people from around the world. That has always been part of our plan. It's always been the reason I started this company and started these magazines in the first place. So, so to Eric John Russell and to Joshua Michael Harper and to Amit and the other people who have taken, I think, really silly pot shots at us, I leave everyone here with really 2 points of order that I think are important to remember. One, I'm 41 years old. I have a long career, very long career in the video game industry, the comic industry. I'm not here to prove anything to people off the internet who have not done any of the things that we've done in Saturday AM. And none of those 3 people and no one else who've criticized us, to my knowledge, that I've seen, have done anything approaching what we've done at all. I mean, some of these guys have never even published a webcomic or tried to publish a webcomic and so on and so forth. But the second thing, and I said this particularly, I remember saying this to Amit, but I say this to Joshua and to Eric and to everyone else who really misses the boat of what it is that we're trying to do, and that is really simple. You can be a journalist, you can be a creator or a wannabe creator or a creator who's in process, you can be a customer. You can't be all 3. Certainly not at the same time. You cannot be all 3 people at the same time. That is literally one of the more ridiculous things that the internet has brought us. The internet has brought us so many great things, from the ability for us to interact with each other from around the world, sharing information, things like Periscope and sharing videos and producing comics like we do with Saturday AM. All of that's through the power of the internet. But one of the negative things of the internet is that it has empowered people who were not brave on their own to suddenly have a voice, to be brave about things that either they're not brave at all about because they're not actually doing those things, they're not putting themselves out there, but more importantly, brave enough to actually try to compromise their own ethical values by trying to be all things at once. You know, we're not anyone's customer. We don't buy any products from Eric or John or Amit or whoever else. We did not start Saturday AM on Shonen Jump's website. We did not introduce each other from other people's websites. We did not create this idea because some other website or some other company tried to do what we did. We literally were the first ones to put together a Shonen Jump style publication that was international in this way. We were literally the first. So I say all this to say that, you know, again, we welcome criticism. In fact, constructive criticism, I think, is valuable for us, is necessary for us, but it only is constructive criticism when you've put as much time thinking about the issues and pointing out the mistakes that we've made that our guys putting together an issue, our website, our comics, so on and so forth. That's the least that you could do if you're going to quote-unquote be a customer, quote-unquote be a critic. If you're going to be a journalist, then talk to us. We're very accessible. I'm wide open. You can ask me any question, fairly. And I'll give you a fair answer. I think if you've watched any of the videos that we've done, no one, and the guys who work for me or produce content with me will tell you immediately that nobody is as hard on them as I am. Nobody. So, if you're going to be a journalist, then be a journalist. Be an actual, real journalist. And webcomics need a good journalist. So for these guys, again, who are critical of us and want to talk about webcomics and talk about the comic community, reach out to us. I'm more than accessible to you guys from that standpoint. And so are most of our creators. And lastly, if you're going to be a comic book creator, again, you can't be a critic and then don't have any skin in the game. I'm sure there are other people who try to be nice to you about that, but I've been at this business for a very long time. There's no reason for me to try to be nice to you. And I promise you that most of the creators that you think are your friends or that you think are much nicer than I am will tell you the exact same thing. You're going to be out there. Put yourself out there. It's only right for you to put yourself out there. Put yourself out there. Put yourself out there so that you can learn and you can grow as a creator. But two, put yourself out there so you can actually be responsible for being able to have a valuable and constructive conversation with another creator, whether you like them or dislike them, because you're operating on a similar scale. When you're just throwing bombs and you have nothing to show for your own work, you have nothing to prove the context in which you are criticizing another individual, then you're making a fool of yourself. Truly, you're making a fool of yourself. My creators of Saturday AM from around the world all come from either homes where they take care of parents, where they take care of wives, or they take care of children, or all three simultaneously. They literally give time that they would spend with other people to produce the content that we have at Saturday AM. They literally do that. I know my personal story, the sacrifices I've made to make Saturday AM happen. They deserve more than pot shots. They deserve more than, as Eric John Russell indicated to one of our creators, Raymond Brown, who's literally one of the hardest working people that I know in webcomics, and he's certainly respected by many webcomic creators who are not connected to Saturday AM. He has given everything to this and deserves more respect than to be told that he's lazy and that he's amateurish and he's a bunch of curse words and things that Eric John Russell was quite bold to say online. I highly doubt he would say that to us if he met us. Not for any physical reason, just because I don't think he's got that level of courage. So again, our guys dedicate a lot, and I think that for everyone who is part of the cause of Saturday AM and believes in Saturday AM or believes in their own webcomic ability, don't talk, just do it. Just do it. And if you do have serious issues with us, we've been always, I think our customer service is fantastic. You can always reach out to us, and we always respond to it. If you've got a copy of one of our books and it's not in the best state, contact us. We'll take care of it. If you've purchased an item from us and you think there's an issue with the delivery, contact us. We'll take care of it. If you don't like the content that we didn't tell you to buy in the first place, you bought it because you were inspired to buy it. If you subscribe and you buy one of our magazines and so forth, and you don't think it's at the standard that you want it to be at, post a note on our page, post a note on our YouTube page. Do it respectfully. I think this is the internet, so that's our house, and we have every right to respect our house. So if you're going to come into our house and make a comment, do it respectfully, the same way you expect for someone to do to you. Do it respectfully. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be nasty. You don't have to try to, again, be bold when you wouldn't be normally. Just respect the hard work that our guys put in. Everybody works hard and sometimes don't always hit the mark. So I don't think any creator that we have is arrogant enough or silly enough to believe that they're going to win everybody. Certainly I don't, and I publish the damn thing. But we do expect for people to act like they have some sense, to behave in a way that is respectful to the work that our guys are doing, and that's the least that we expect. So that's my rant on the haters and so forth. They know who they are. I've talked to them directly. I highly doubt we'll hear from them again, but regardless, I just think that we've worked too hard, and for those of you who stood by us and supported us, thank you. It means more than you'll ever know, and I can promise you that the things that we've done in the last year and a half are going to get even bigger. They're going to get even bolder. The things that we have planned to do are things that, frankly, I've not seen anyone else trying to do. So we're going to surprise a lot of people. We're going to be talking about some of those things today. So, again, if you guys are interested, please stick on. All right, so that's my quick comment. I know we've had several viewers who logged on and then were kind of surprised to see that the video had stopped. Again, for those of you who were new after that long speech there, and right now I'm just putting something on the iPad here for one of our fans trying to figure out where to watch the video. What I would say then, for those of you who are new, again, Saturday AM is a digital manga anthology, very similar to Shonen Jump, for example. You know, what separates us from Shonen Jump, of course, is that from the very beginning, our mentality has always been that we want to produce content that is universal, that features creators and concepts and characters literally from around the world. We don't want it to just be you know, Asian characters or just be from a certain part of the world. We wanted it to reflect the sort of international prestige and esteem that you see with places like Marvel Comics. And so we've been really excited because we've, in the last year and a half, we have built fans from around the world. And I mean that literally, from Venezuela to New Guinea to Romania to New Zealand, you name it. We have built fandoms there who see what we're doing. And in many cases, particularly from the continent of Africa, we get letters that are very emotional from people because they never believed that people who look like me or them could produce content that was this good. And, you know, that even makes me choke up a little bit because, again, I started this company having spent a decade in the video game industry, being one of the few African Americans working on high-profile titles or brokering high-profile deals with companies from Viz to Marvel and so on, wondering how, if my nephew or children, you know, were to see of color, were to see the stuff that was being generated, whether or not they actually felt that they could themselves be a part of that industry, because they never saw people who looked like me, frankly, and they certainly didn't see a lot of characters who looked like me or looked like young women or so on and so forth. So, so really, you know, we started this to try to start a revolution in terms of genre content in the internet age, and we've so far have been successful with what we've done. To date, if you look here at our subscribe page, you see right here, issue 29 just came out a couple of days ago. Issue 29. I want to highlight that again because, again, when you think about some of the haters that we have, when you think about you know, just trying to produce this type of content, the idea that we have been around long enough to produce 29 issues consistently without, you know, a 6-month break or a year break or anything like that, that is huge. That is huge. And these are 29 issues that, frankly, some of them have been as big as graphic novels, and then some of them have been as big as, but all of them, I'm sorry, have been as big as your standard comic book that you would get from Image or Marvel or DC, in terms of being the average page of comic books in the United States is about 24 pages. We certainly aren't as big as a Shonen Jump, but we also don't have nearly as much money and titles that we believe hit the quality standard that we've looked for. But if you want to test us out, please check out issue 29. All of our issues are individually $1.99, whether they're over 150 pages or they're as much as 30 pages. You can enjoy it for just $1.99. That is a deal that is on par, if not better, than every other comic book company that's out there who publishes digital comics. Beyond that, the kicker to all of our stuff is that you can actually subscribe to the magazine, get those issues, 20 of them, for just $5 a year. Again, when people try to attack us, the one thing I've never understood is how anyone with a straight face can say to themselves that we do not have the best deal in comics. There is no comic publisher out there that we are familiar with, and if someone who's criticizing us can tell us of a different company, by all means, tell it to us. I'll send you a free copy of one of our print edition books, Saturday Tanks, Apple Black or Saigami. I'll send it to you, free of charge, no questions asked. Show me someone else who's done that. We get hundreds of views on our videos, so I know that of the haters who are out there, and there's not a lot of them, but there's a handful of them, they can surely tell us who else is out there doing what we do to put me in my place, but they can't, and they won't, because I don't know who else has done it. I will say, as I always do, that there's a company out there that we are huge fans of. We learned about them after we started producing Saturday AM. They're called Sparkler Monthly. They focus on mostly female-oriented comic books, and we couldn't be prouder to be associated with them in terms of producing this sort of anthology format digital comic a la Shonen Jump or Weekly Young Jump or things like that. If you want to check out the sort of thing that we do with a more feminine gaze, I highly recommend you check out Sparkler Monthly. I don't know these ladies. They certainly have not offered me any money or anything to say this, but I'm such a big believer in diversity and such a big believer in what we're trying to do that when I see a company that's out there doing what they're doing, I can't help but make sure you guys are out there supporting them. Please support Sparkler Monthly. Now, we're at issue 29, and if you go to our website, the key thing that you'll see here is that you see that we have a tremendous amount of exclusive manga webcomics. They are 100% free, and so if you do not want to subscribe to us, that does not mean in any way that you cannot participate in the excitement of our creators and our content. If you just look at this top row here, this tells you all you need to know about the level of diversity that we have. Apple Black in the top left corner is one of the biggest webcomics in the world, one of the most popular manga-style webcomics on the planet. It is exclusive to Saturday AM. It's a founding property of Saturday AM. It's got one of the most popular creators named White Manga, who is from Nigeria. When you look at the art this man can generate and you think to yourself, that has to come from Japan. Nope, it came from Africa. There is no better statement about what Saturday AM is all about than Apple Black. And we could not be more honored and more proud to be the official home of Apple Black. Next to it is Saigami. Again, one of the manga comics that if you look at it, you would swear it came from Japan. Absolutely gorgeous. Features some of the best, most beautifully just relaxed artwork you'll see. Andrea Voros, the creator of that, is a female creator, and she's not from America. She's not from Japan. She's not from the United Kingdom. She's from Hungary, a small nation in Western Europe that is just producing some amazing things in terms of cosplayers and comic artists. And we are so proud to have Andrea exclusively. Her comic and White's comic both appear exclusively in Saturday AM, but you can read old content that they've produced for Saturday AM and prior to getting into Saturday AM. You can read all of that exclusively presented on this website, Saturday-am.com. Likewise, in our Read Manga section, you've got Bully Eater, which again was a property that we launched Saturday AM with. Bully Eater is from an African-American named Raymond Brown. It is a fun, no-frills manga. This is not one of those long examinations that we see in a lot of webcomics where like the creator who's 20 years old but is telling an epic story that should be from someone who's maybe 50. Not saying you can't do that, but we see a lot of these kind of self-serious, perhaps not exactly capable creators trying to tell these long, complicated stories. Bully Eater's not that, and that's why Bully Eater is so popular. It's fun. It's what comic books are supposed to be. It's just fun. And so we couldn't be more proud of Bully Eater, couldn't be more proud of Raymond, who does everything for us. And then on the top right there, you see Spoon. This is from a Korean-American creator, so again, just topping off our level of diversity, and that's just the first 4 webcomics. Spoon is literally, easily, without any hyperbole whatsoever, one of the best webcomics you will read, period. No questions asked, nonstop. It is awesome. It is action-packed. It is shocking. It is funny. It is imaginative. It is well told. It has great dialogue. It is a textbook example of what amateur creators who are serious can produce if they're serious about trying to make webcomics, trying to make a really good story. Spoon is excellent. And it's got 32 chapters. So that level of dedication that you have to have when you are a serious creator, Spoon is a good example of what you have to have for that. As I scroll down this list, you can see that it doesn't stop there. We have Storybook, which is another amazing manga title, 34 chapters to date, exclusively on our website. Z Forever from Mark Reed. Comet Man, which is one of our new titles from Frederick Ward. Remedium Plus, which is another new comic. You won't see anything like Remedium Plus online. That we have exclusively. It's from one of our creators who came from Pilot Manga. Test Run, which is an original one-shot series. Massive Multiplayer World of Ghosts. Saturday Plus, which we'll talk about here shortly. Posebots. Candlejack, also from White Manga. Ox King. Dreamwalker. Roughhouse. Wanted Dead or Dead. And there are more titles that are not on here, like Islanders, which will be soon and shortly. So, again, this is how many free webcomics you can experience on our website right now. You can look at the diversity of content, the diversity of styles, the quality of styles, the beautiful logos that exist for each title. This is Saturday AM. This is what we're all about. And again, if you really want to get the full experience of Saturday AM, check out issue number 29. It's available right now for $1.99. So again, we are doing this epilogue one-year anniversary to kind of catch up our fans on everything that we've been doing, talk about the things that we have coming soon. And when we finish this, I'll be talking about our Saturday Tank program. But one of the things that we intend to do tonight is, again, obviously we want to answer some questions. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm checking out some of the things that we have here from, we have a couple of people who are posting stuff for us. If you have a question for us while we're doing the video, please feel free to drop that question. You can do so in a couple of places. You can do so via our Facebook, our Facebook fan page, which is www.facebook.com/SaturdayAM. You can also do so via our private Facebook group, which is Pilot Manga. Pilot Manga is the home of our exclusive submissions group. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Pilot Manga, and then what we're going to do is actually review 3 titles that were submitted to us for last weekend's test flight live winner reveal that were missed for various reasons, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But I do want to give a bit of background about Pilot Manga. When we started Saturday AM, again, despite what the haters want to think, we had tremendous outreach from creators, amateur creators from around the world, and we had a lot of people who wanted to be a part of it, including some of the haters. One of the things that was really important to us was that, first of all, we're small, as I've said before. We're very small, and so the idea of being able to actually review content at that level regularly was very, very difficult. We just weren't in a position to do that. So instead, what we decided to do was to create an actual community that we would call Pilot Manga. And this would basically do 2 things in a big way. The first thing was to put together amateur creators who wanted to chat and talk with one another and develop their abilities collectively in a place where they would be taken seriously. And I say that because there are so many webcomic groups that are out there where the vast majority of the conversation of those webcomic groups is really in regards to possibly talking about, kind of like either talking about promoting each other's stuff, but it's really not about questions like, how do I get an audience? What sort of tools do I use if I want to really, attract people to what I'm trying to do? How do I handle advertising? How do you do all these various things? So for us, we decided to create this group that on the second level would also be a place where people could comfortably submit their comic ideas to us and know that there was a process for us being able to review it that they could understand. So if you go to our Pilot Manga page, you get all the information about Pilot Manga. You get to see the official rules and the official forum and all that stuff. And then likewise, you get to see all the previous videos, which are incredible videos because we actually go into those videos with a chance to actually discuss everything that's happening with Pilot Manga. And we run through each person's entry, we discuss it, we break it down. You're going to see that here shortly. And so it's a really amazing and fun experience, and I highly recommend that you guys check it out if you think that would be something that you would like to do. If you want to be a part of Saturday AM, try Pilot Manga. Again, you can register to become a member of Pilot Manga on this page, which is the Pilot Manga link on our website. And of course, all of our videos, you're probably watching a video on our site right now, are held here. So whenever we have live videos, that's where it's at. You can see past finalists, and I admit up front that, again, us being a small company, this list is not actually up to date. This is an old list, but we will be updating this very soon. One of the key things for us regarding Pilot Manga that, again, I think a lot of people maybe don't understand is that Pilot Manga is not a place for you to create your Saturday AM, and we've had it from the group because of that. If you are unhappy with the way that we're doing things, then do what we did and go create your own group. Don't do it in our group. Go create your own group. And so that's kind of the whole point about what it is we're trying to establish, is we've been trying to focus on creating an environment where creators can actually create content the way that they're supposed to, without any sort of pressure and so forth, without any pressure, without feeling like that they have to do things a certain way. More importantly, though, and more to the point, is that in this group, because of the way we have everything set up, people don't have to worry about people trying to steal their work. They don't have to worry about people trying to rip them off, trying to make fun of them or accuse them of things. We vet the people who come into Pilot Manga. We closely managed by the creators inside of the group, by all the amateur creators in there, and we try to inspire creators to create content that would be featured in Test Flight or Test Run, our two main contests. We created this to be able to serve as a platform for people who are trying to get into Saturday AM or Afternoon WebEx. This is how you do it. So again, this is not a place where you come in and you promote your own comic book that already exists. There are tons of websites for that, tons of webcomic groups for that, tons of Facebook groups for that. This is also not a place where you come and you sit in the group and, as they say in the South, you eat our food, you drink our liquor, and you talk BS about us while you're there. If you're not happy and you don't feel like you can contribute in the group, either we'll remove you or you please remove yourself. But don't make it uncomfortable for everyone else. Again, I'll say again, we did not create Saturday AM inside of Shonen Jump's website. We didn't create it within other people's websites. We created it literally on our own, and everything that we've built to date has come from our own hard work. I implore people who want to do that to do the same thing. Join Pilot Manga for the right reasons and get involved for the right reasons. And so Pilot Manga has two main contests. One is called Test Flight, and Test Flight is the more difficult of the two. Test Flight is basically where we give you a set level of objectives that you have to try to accomplish and guidelines, because we're trying to ascertain both your seriousness as a creator as well as a sort of ability to comprehend and follow through and be a good storyteller that you have to be for Saturday AM. And so for us, Test Flight is really the only way to get into Saturday AM. But we do recognize that there are some creators who are just so focused on what they do and how they do what they do that they just want to tell their story. They want us to feature it. And we start thinking about it and thought, you know what, there's a way to do this, and we want to honor that way. And that way is called Test Run. And it's a short story. It still has guidelines, meaning that you have to produce 15 pages. You can't give us your 60-page epic you've been working on for 5 years. It's got to be a 15-page story that literally has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the part that I love about Test Run is that, again, for a lot of creators who believe that they've got it all figured out and they don't need us and so forth, in which case, if that's the case, and you probably don't, then go to Tapastic or Smack Jeeves or any of the other websites. We should not be a place that you're having a fit to get into if you don't necessarily like the way that we do things. But with that being said, because we do have very stringent rules about how we work, Test Run is great because we let you tell whatever story you want to tell, however you want to tell it, but you will tell a story. You will have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And what we found to date is that 15 pages for a lot of creators who've never created a webcomic before is extremely difficult. The idea that they have only 15 pages to tell a story when in their head they want to tell a 90-page epic is really forces them to think about what it is they love so much about webcomics, what it is that they think that they know about telling stories. It provides all the sort of mental roadblocks that we don't put on you. We just say, hey, it's got to be 15 pages, and it's amazing the amount of struggle that a lot of creators go through. But this is the heart of why Saturday AM is what it is, because we do take seriously the idea of creating webcomics. We do take seriously the notion that you've got to create content that means something for the reader, that means something for the creators. We take those things very, very seriously. And so from that, and the fact that you've got to get your content out regularly. You can't just produce content when you feel like it. You've got to produce content regularly if you want to build an audience. And every serious webcomic creator knows that. That doesn't mean that you can't be a serious webcomic creator and can't do it your way and you produce one page a month or one page a year. Doesn't mean you can't do that. But the vast majority of creators who've had any success at this know that consistency, quality, and actual storytelling are the keys for success. And that is part of the DNA for Saturday AM. To not produce anything on those three levels doesn't mean you just couldn't work with us. And that's just all there is to it. So Pilot Manga is something that we love. We have a lot of plans for it as we go forward, but this is, at the end of the day, the way that you get into Saturday AM. So just keep that in mind for those of you who will send us the inevitable questions about how do I get into Saturday AM Pilot Manga. That's why we created the group. So with Pilot Manga, with that being said about Pilot Manga, I do want to talk real quickly before we address some of the questions that we've received, as well as some questions. I mean, as well as the next reviews we're going to do. I do want to talk about Test Flight and the future of Test Flight. Now, Test Flight, when we just wrapped it on July 1st. I'm sorry, last weekend. We just wrapped our 1-year anniversary Test Flight. And the winner of that was Nathan Alhanda, who is phenomenal. I think personally that his comic strip idea that he presented to us via Test Flight and that we're now working with him to develop, I'm confident that if pulled off correctly, if Nathan follows all the right information that we can give him and brings his A game trying to tell a really good story, I am a big believer that Hollow Man, his story, could be the next Death Note. I think it is that awesome. It is that original, it is that serious, and we literally cannot wait to get Hollow Man into Saturday Plus. But this was the last Test Flight that we were going to do for this year. And by that I mean that traditionally when we have Test Flights and we choose a winner, we then work with those creators to produce content and give them a trial run of their story inside of Saturday Plus, which is our sister publication to Saturday AM. As it stands right now, all right. Well, sorry about that again. That is the power of Google, power of Google Chrome. So I hope these things will improve as we move on. We're certainly working on some ways to make this not be the scenario. If Google's watching this video, which I highly doubt because we're not big enough for them to watch it, but if they were watching it, I would love for them to give me a new Chromebook because this is literally their fault. But regardless, so it's going to take a second to pull everything back up and get us back on the road. But what I was saying was that in regards to test runs, I'm sorry, for test flights. So we've had all the test flight activity that we can really handle this year, and so I'm pleased to state that we have several awesome creators and concepts that we're going to be working to develop for Saturday Plus, our sister publication that will run starting in I think another week or two. So Saturday Plus issue number 8 will come out, and it'll have inside of it Chained Black, which is a monster. You guys are going to flip when you see Chained Black. In fact, it was on the cover of issue number 28. So if you know our website or if you subscribe, issue 28, Chained Black. When you see Chained Black, it's going to blow your mind. This could be the next Islanders, the next Apple Black, the next Belita Sagami. It's pretty special. But we also have Tomy Life. We also have Explosion Joe, which is neat. So, and then we have other titles that'll be coming in, getting a run out inside of Saturday Plus for the rest of the year. So we're wrapped with test flights. So I know there are many creators who are like, oh, man, I really want to get you my idea. I really want you guys to carry my concept. And the reality is that right now we can't. We're fully booked in terms of the ideas and stuff that we have at this moment. However, Test Run, which is the short story that we talked about, the short story anthology. To date, we've done 3 test runs. We had Grigori, which kicked it off with William Brody. We had Monster Society of America with Christopher Crady. 2 creators, by the way, who came from Pilot Manga. Again, this is why Pilot Manga is so important. And then 3, Action Land by Eli Beard. Well, I'm happy to state that all 3 creators, while we did not choose to work on the concepts, Grigori by William Brody or Action Land by Eli Beard, we are currently working with all 3 creators, and it's 2 of them you've already seen their stuff. So William Brody produced the cover for issue number 29. It is a new horror comic strip that will run inside of Saturday AM exclusively. It'll be slightly older. It'll skew slightly older, and we're going to make, because it's more graphic, it will only exist for our $2 a year subscribers. We may run some of it on our website, but it'll be heavily edited because it's going to be much more graphic than a standard Saturday title. This is like a Walking Dead or Attack on Titan. This is really cool stuff. It's called No to Heaven, and the basic idea is Judgment Day has come, and humanity decides they want to fight back. And it's not particularly religious, so for all of you guys who worry about religious, please don't have an issue about it unless you're going to wildly blow up our website traffic by talking about it to a newspaper or to a TV network. But in all seriousness, No to Heaven is going to be awesome. I think you guys are going to love it. William Brody is a beautiful artist, and so it's awesome. I think you guys are going to really love it. The other creator, Christopher Crady, worked on Monster Society of America. That one we did say this is perfect, and we want this to be a part of Saturday AM. So that, I'm happy to announce, will be joining Saturday AM's lineup exclusively, beginning with issue number 33, and it's going to start off with a bang. I think you guys are going to love it, and that concept is all about horror, not horror. Sorry, it's about monsters, and it's about a group of kids who are troublemakers, who are in their school. If you guys have in your schools, particularly here in America, have after-school programs for the kind of troubled kids. Well, this is kind of like an after-school program for the troubled kid, except with theirs, it's not building houses for the homeless. It's not selling cookies. It's not any of those things. It's hunting monsters, and it's violent, and it's sexy, and it is awesome. It's kind of like Prison School meets Bleach. So I think you guys are going to love it. And Christopher Crady's artwork is stunning. Last but not least, Eli Beard. Eli Beard and I are working on a property that I'm really excited about. This is the first time we're going to talk about it publicly, and it's something that will be on our website exclusively. But we love Eli's art style. Eli is a really quirky person, as a person, and he's quirky individual with his art. And so while we did not want to work specifically with Action Land, we thought it was an interesting concept, but it's not for us. We did love him, we loved his work, and thought, there's got to be something we can work on together. And I'm pleased to announce that the thing we'll be working on is going to be on our website. It's going to feature a group of kids. It's going to be kind of a slice of life comic strip featuring a group of young men and women. I don't want to say the name of it yet, but when you hear the name, you're going to know exactly what it is. and it's going to be exciting because this is something that people talk about all the time, but no one's ever actually done a comic strip about it. And so we are very excited about that. So this summer we've been talking about this concept called Summer of Manga, and it's where we basically have been putting out all of our new concepts. And so Clock Striker is coming very soon. It features our first African American female character. Monster Society of America, which was in issue number 25, will debut in issue number 33. Our issue 26 cover was, I believe that was that was Remedium Plus, and Remedium Plus is now on our website. Issue 27 featured Islanders, which of course is being featured inside of every issue of Saturday AM, and it's doing hugely, it's becoming very popular. Issue 28 featured the cover for Issue 28. I can't remember the cover for issue 28, but man, issue 29 was No to Heaven. Issue 28 was Chain Black, and we still have more titles coming. Like I said, this mystery title we're doing with Eli Beard will be announced inside of issue number 30, which comes out next Wednesday. And then issue 31, when we come back from our break, will feature a brand new cover, feature the first chapter of a comic strip that's going to be joining us as well. And I think you're going to be really, you all know this property, even though you don't know what I'm talking about. So, and we've still got more titles coming, and of course we've got the stuff coming from Test Flight. As far as Test Run goes, though, as you can see, Test Run has proven successful. The short stories have been seen by a lot of people. It's built a lot of excitement around the creators or the concepts, and so we're really excited to continue Test Run. So while we will not be doing Test Flight until late fall, which we're thinking about returning either in October or November to do another Test Flight, and that will have no impact on 2015 in terms of our publishing. That'll be for 2016. While we are waiting for Test Flight, Test Run will now be moving to a bi-weekly status. And so what that means is that basically Test Run submissions can happen any day of the week at any time. You simply send us your idea, you send us your concept, we'll receive the stuff in, we'll evaluate it like we're going to do tonight, and if it's a property or if it's a concept or it's a creator that we think is strong enough, we will run the test run. And then you all will judge with us whether or not something between the creator or the property that makes sense for us to publish. And as always, all throughout Saturday AM, all throughout my footprint, the company itself, every creator owns their own property. And as always, while we have an exclusive in terms of how long we can run the property, the creator can choose to do something else. So if the creator on Test Run does not think that we like his idea enough or her idea enough, they can take it somewhere else after the exclusivity period ends. So you may love the concept, we may not feel it really fits us. Well, what they've done is they've used our traffic, they've used our marketing to establish themselves, establish their concept, and then they can take it somewhere else. They can take it to Pastic or Smack G's or wherever, their own website, Kickstarter. So Test Run, again, big announcement, will be happening on a bi-weekly basis. I think that's pretty much it. We're going to talk about the marketplace, and then 2 new things we're going to be doing, including 1 new thing for YouTube. But what I'd like to do first, though, is take a minute. We got a couple of questions, and while we're doing that, I'm actually going to turn the camera off because I'm going to go ahead and start getting us set up to review the titles that were sent to us for this final test flight and old test run process. We're going to review those. So Elijah Simon had a question. I'm going to read his question here. He says, what is the best way to get involved in the amateur manga that you guys have? And Elijah actually asked the question back on July 5th, so I think it's kind of tying into that. He said, you know, hey, I'm really not sure who I have to contact, but I have an original manga series that I'm working on. I was wondering if I could have my comic issues on you guys' website. It's called The Burning Fox. And he wanted to basically know, and so then he's asked the second question about, hey, how do I get involved in amateur manga? So let me say again that we're not looking for content external to Saturday AM. So if you have your own website, and I just said the name of the website, theburningfox.com, then just do what you do. I mean, it's like there's no compatibility there for us to work with you because we're looking for original concepts and original ideas that fit what our overall genre and demographic elements are. And from what you're trying to do, it doesn't really fit what we're trying to do. And so, from that standpoint, Elijah Simon, I would just say keep doing what you're doing, keep trying to get the word out about what you're doing. Go to various websites and post information about your stuff. Ours is not the place to do it, but there are plenty of other websites where you can do that. Post some of your stuff on some of the sites like Smack Jeeves or Tapastic. I mean, do that. But we're not like those other websites where everybody gets to post stuff. We take a lot of pride in the titles that we do carry, and we have an identity that we try to foster that is commensurate with the titles that we publish. So that's the basic answer I can give you on that one. Again, if you have questions, you can feel free to submit them in a couple of different ways. You can do so on our Facebook page. You can do so on our website via our forum, and you can just post a question and ask how things go from there. So, did get a question from Donna. I got this Mozilla, who asked, so when does test run officially start for submissions? And Donna, the new test run starts officially tomorrow. I'll put a blog post up on our website, and it'll talk about it'll just kind of reiterate the stuff that we just talked about today. And at that point, then just get your 15-page story into us really at any time at that point, and we'll run with it. Now, I'll say again, you guys will see tonight when we talk about these properties. Again, test run is not for you if you've got a 60-page comic strip you're going to try to retrofit to 15 pages. Or if you're going to try to, which we've seen some people try to do, send us a 60-page story as a test run and think we're going to somehow forget the rules of test run. We don't tell you what genre to do. We still have our rules of decency, so you can't have excessive violence or excessive sexual situations. We don't accept anything that's racist or prejudice towards other groups of people and so forth. But if you've got a great original short story you want to tell, even if it's something that's based off of idea you have for a larger epic, if you've got that and you've got it within 15 pages, send it in. But my recommendation to everybody is always to try to create a story from that. As I said earlier, when you look at the creators that we had, the guys like William Brody and Eli Beard, when you look at creators like that who came into the mix with their concepts, and we still wanted to work with them, even though we didn't necessarily go for the stuff that they had. When you see that, that should be really all you need to know about creating content. In other words, it shouldn't be really based on any idea that you've got to try to produce the right type of content for us. We just want good stuff, and if we think you're talented, then we're going to go work with you. So that's really all it goes. So, all right, so we are now going to start looking at some of the last submissions that we've gotten via the old format of Saturday pilot manga test runs and test flights. So we received 3 submissions from people who got to us a little late or sent us stuff but weren't really a member of pilot manga, but that was more a mistake issue on their part, but it's not something that we want to penalize them for at this stage of the game. So we ended up working with them to go ahead and at least review the properties. These, by the way, were submitted early on, so it's not a scenario where it's an issue. So let's go ahead and jump into it then. There are 3. One is Latane Lunford, one is from Ian Brown, and one is from Wesley Lindsay. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and get started here. The first one up is from Wesley Lindsay, and I'm going to pull it up here. And remember, Google has serious problems with their Chromebook, so I can't promise you this stuff won't just fall apart any second now. But we're going to try to load it up first and make sure that it's operating effectively when I turn it on. When I turn on the camera for you guys to look at. What I can tell you guys, at least initially, is that it's called Phantom Rain, and it is it's a test flight. I mean, it's a test run. I'm sorry, it's a test run where he actually submitted the whole 15-page story and concept to us. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started here. I'm not gonna scroll all the way through it because it's a huge PDF file. I'm not sure that, again, with the way the computer's operating, that would work. Plus, with test runs, we don't do that anyway because this is not a, you can read the story on our website if we choose to publish it. So let's go ahead and get going here. Just give me one moment. I'll pull it up. Okay, and so this is Test Run, Phantom Rain by Wesley Lindsay. There are so many interesting things just from the cover, which I think is actually quite beautiful. You got dinosaurs. You've got that font that I see on all the free websites. I use it too, by the way. And then story art by Wesley Lindsay. And then you get to see the art, which does not in any way reflect the cover. And I think that really, frankly, is the problem that I have with the story, and quite a few of our guys had with the story. Even though the story was actually kind of fun, mainly it's the fact that there are no dinosaurs in the story. So it's I don't have an answer for you as to why dinosaurs are on the cover. And the art does not look anything like the dinosaurs on the cover. I mean, literally look nothing like the dinosaurs on the cover. I'm not opposed to the art at all. In fact, I think it's kind of funky. I actually kind of find myself intrigued with it as a 41-year-old man who grew up reading independent comics here in the United States. But this is different. I'm not going to lie to you and say that this was at all what I expected from the cover. The story is mainly a large action scene, which some of the action is kind of hard to tell what's happening. But basically, it's the main character who I must say had some of the best personality that I've seen in a test run to date. I mean, his personality and his character is so clearly identified in terms of what he is and what he's doing and things like that. And even at the very end, with something that he does at the end of the story, that I was really impressed with the writer's command of that. Aside from that, I couldn't tell you that the writer has any idea the story he's telling. I'm sure he does, but it literally made no sense at all. I mean, it made no sense. And this is, again, one of the struggles you see with Test Run is that when you are trying to tell a short story in 15 pages, what this amounts to is a scene. This is not a story. This is a scene. And what we're saying is you need to tell a short story. And this is the part where I think in webcomics, and one of the things that set off Eric John Russell so much, is we talk about amateur webcomics and fanboyism. There's no concern whatsoever. There's no challenge that I have to amateur creators. As I said in the very beginning, we started the company on amateur creators. Our creators are amateur creators. They're not working at Marvel or DC. But there is a big difference, a big difference in fanboy content. And and if you don't like that term, I don't know what to tell you, because I'm too old and I've been doing it for too long to call you some weird name that you've got, like call me Shulo 66. And I'm too old to say something that's just not the reality. The reality is that there are a lot of web comics that are just fanboy comics. And what I mean by that is that are fangirl comics, where they're so in love with an idea like Naruto or Dragon Ball Z or Final Fantasy that literally every story I constantly send you has something to do with those three things. So there are other titles, but typically those are the three we see all the time. Dragon Ball is another one. So much so that they rip off the character design, they rip off the power set, they rip off the motivations of the characters, they rip off the whole panel sometimes. We've seen entire panels that were lifted from very famous panels in Naruto and stuff like that. Fanboyism, again, is this notion that you're so excited to tell a story that excites you personally, and that you've always wanted to tell. You always want to see Naruto do this. That when you read the story, you literally can pick out the things that intrigue, that were your motivations. There's no story there. So you're not reading something where you're like, oh, this is this character, and this is what this character is about, and this is what this world is about, and this is how this world operates, and this is what this character did to get to this place, and then this is what happens here, and here's a twist I didn't see coming, and then here's the finale, and wow, that was a great little story. I enjoyed that. It took me here, and there, and now I'm finished. Fanboys tend to do things in scenes where it's like literally they're so desperate to show, and we saw this when we first got started, where young creators they thought manga meant ecchi, so everything had to do with girls who had their panties pulled down, or some guy accidentally grabbed a girl's breasts. And again, for a 41-year-old man, is someone who, again, has spoken out about how much we care about diversity, something that Japanese manga does not do very well, then, including how they handle women, then, you know, that never sat well with me. And again, in this particular story, there are some really interesting ideas here, but for the most part, like I said, there is no story here. There is literally no story here. And so while Wesley Lindsley deserves credit for some flourishes that he gives to his main character, the action sequence, and for some of the things he does with his art, which I actually really like the artwork. This is as amateur as you get. This is as indie comic book as you get. But when it comes down to some of the action sequences, some of the things that are happening, like this right here I thought was a really great panel. I love this. This reminds me of an artist named Duncan Rouleau. This is a great panel, beautiful perspective shot on the character. But again, this is just not. This is not. Some of the action sequences are just not there. This is not. This is not something that we can publish. I literally, as I said before, it literally made no sense. That being said, with Wesley Lindsley, I think that he's very talented. I would love to see him try to go through the test flight process, or if he's going to take another stab at test run, which he certainly can do, try a different idea that literally is a story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. I would love to see those pieces come from Mr. Lindsley. Otherwise than that, though, unfortunately, we'll be passing on Phantom Rain, which was a test run submission sent to us last week. So that is how our reviews go for those of you who are new to the process or new to one of these videos. That's how it goes. But again, very interesting cover, interesting art style, and I think there's real talent that Mr. Lindsley has, and I can't wait to see what he comes up with when he really tries to do something targeted towards actually telling a story. So that's that. I'm sure Phantom Rain will pop up somewhere. You can check it out in the future, but it won't be on our website. Okay, and so next up is Ian Brown, and we will be getting to Mr. Brown here in just a second. Before I do that, I'm going to again stop and ask if there are any questions that people have for us here during this live winner reveal anniversary edition epilogue, which is our long title for it. Again, my name is Frederick Jones, and I am the publisher for Saturday AM. So let's see here. I'm going to stop that video there, share regarding that, so I can pull up the other stuff. If you do have questions, feel free to submit them in one of three places. You can do so on our Facebook fan page, which is www.facebook.com/SaturdayAM. If you are a member of our Pilot Manga community, you can do so on that as well. And we certainly would love to see some comments from you on our Facebook Pilot Manga group, or you can do it on our website in our forum. We certainly would be very open and love to see some questions in our forum. So as I said, next up will be Ian Brown. I'm actually pulling that up as we speak, so just bear with me one moment. But if you have questions, as I said, please follow those instructions and get your questions to us. And we'll be talking, towards the end here, we'll be talking about two brand new things we'll be doing to, again, continue to grow readership and grow fans of our content. I think you're going to be really excited about that, so you want to stick around for that in the video. We'll also be talking about something tied to that. That's going to be a new experience on YouTube that we'll have. So again, do stay tuned for that towards the end of the video. So next up, as I indicated, is from a young man named Ian Brown, who was not a member of Pilot Manga, although he thought he was, but he wasn't. And so that's, again, a situation that is understandable, even though it's not exactly how we try to do things. So so we're going to now check out Mr. Brown's property. His property as well. Give me 1 second here. Just had everything pulled up. I got to make sure the video is correct here. Once again, his property is a test run, and again, it's not quite the way that we try to get these things set up, but it's there. And so, all right, pull it up right now. Oops. Let's see here. Got the dev screen there. Okay. I hope that's coming up correctly. There we go. Okay. All right. And so this property is called True Legend, and so there's several things wrong with this, but I won't get into that at this moment. Bottom line here is that this was Ian Brown's submission. It's called True Legends. This is Hypnosis is over a century ago. That was another thing about Phantom Rain. There was not only did no one understand what was happening with it, but there was no explanation given. There was no pitch. There was no hypnosis. There was just nothing. So Wesley did not follow any of the instructions that we had about test run. But regardless, True Legends does actually send us some stuff. Although he also, Mr. Brown, does some stuff that we didn't ask him to do as well. Over a century ago, every legend in the lands were kept at bay and at peace by the Grand Master Legend Dan Katai. His mysterious disappearance caused a power collapse between the legends. Now the evil that has been running rampant is acting as a biological arms dealer using its Vinix project. Is there no legend that can bring peace to the lands? And so this is the basic setup for this world. So we asked for a couple of things, for those of you, again, who are new to this process. We asked for a pitch, and the pitch is crucial. And you learn this inside of Pilot Manga. This is why joining Pilot Manga, which Mr. Ian Brown hadn't done, is critical, because when you've got a very complex narrative like I just read to you, and you don't have that time to try to get that fan. And I always liken it to, first of all, I mean, it's pulled directly from Hollywood. So the idea being is that in Hollywood, you don't have those sort of options, right? You only have the option of presenting content, presenting material directly, maybe to an executive that you get to know or get to meet at a party, or if you're on the elevator with someone who, you tell them, hey, I've got this idea, it's Die Hard meets Transformers, or something like that. And that's literally what you've got, and that that either will grab them to where they go, keep talking, or they'll say, not interested, and keep walking. And because the idea you're going to send them a long book with your script in it that they're going to sit through and read when they have nothing else to do, that certainly can happen, but the odds of it happening are very limited, and more limited as the internet and things continue happening where they're happening. So the pitch is essential, but I compare it even more than that. I compare it to, if you, again, for American readers, if you have ever gone through Diamond Previews, which Diamond is the #1 distributor of comic books, physical comic books in the United States. If you go to your local comic book store and want to order comic books or see what news is coming out from both big and small creators, then you get what they call the Previews catalog from Diamond. For years, it was the only comic book I ever bought. It was the only comic ever, because I could read all these entries about what was happening in all these various comic companies. And the thing is huge. It's like a 200-300 page book, right? It's just huge. Maybe 400 or 500 pages. This is huge. But anyways, long story short, I always liken the pitch to being, if you can't sell me, like if you've got a blurb next to your book, and I'm flipping through this catalog, and I see the cover of your book, and I see the name of your book, and the ordering information, the price, then it needs to be like something in there. And you don't get 5 pages to talk about what's in your comic book. You get a small little write, like it's maybe like 10 words. You'd better have something like a pitch that sells me on the concept, that makes me say, I'm going to check this out. I'm going to have my comic store order this. Or if I'm a comic book retailer, you better have a pitch that excites me enough to order it from my customers. So the pitch is essential. And with all that being said, in this case with True Legends, that hypnosis is so dense. And I don't mean it's 5 paragraphs long. It's not. But there's so much stuff packed in there, terms and words that literally mean nothing to someone who doesn't know this concept, which is everybody, right? No one knows Ian Brown. No one knows Ian Brown's concept. This is all Ian Brown stuff right out of his head. That when you're reading this stuff, you're reading stuff about every legend in lands, which, what is a legend? I assume that's a hero or a warrior or a fighter. And then using its Vinix project. What is the Vinix project? Why do I even need to know the name of the Vinix project? This is the sort of stuff that just immediately turns off people, because there's just so much story here to try to get through. Here's the other challenge with this, the other part of Ian Brown stuff. First of all, we can see here on the cover, Ian Brown's artwork is interesting. There's some real positives here. Believe it or not, I love this fist. You see that fist there he's making there? I love that fist. You guys can't see it too well there. It's not anatomically correct, but it looks powerful. It looks strong. And too many times, creators who are producing fists, artists who are doing it for the first time, they miss the point of a fist, right? Jack Kirby, the great Jack Kirby's fists weren't always the best looking, not the most realistic looking fists, but they felt powerful, and that looks powerful. And that's what the best part of that image. That and the rocks. I love the rocks. I remember when I saw this, I hated the color scheme, and I hated the font that he used for his title, because True Legends, you can barely read True Legends because he's got that silly TL right over the blue True Legends part, which is a horrible font to use. So, I mean, this thing is a fail right on the cover, easily. But that fist and those rocks are damn good. So anyway, as we move forward here, long story short, there's some interesting stuff here, but the plot's pretty straightforward. There's nothing wrong with the plot here, but as you can see here at the art is not quite at the level that it needs to be. There's one of the Saturday AM guys who I had look at this talked about how there were no backgrounds. Most of the backgrounds are just kind of empty and lost. And the big sin with this is that, again, there's not a great deal happening with the story, but one of the things that truly was frustrating is that Ian Brown, committed the sin of submitting 25 pages for his story. He sent a 25-page short story, and it's not a short story; it's a chapter 1. So, as I said before about test run, this right here is a perfect example of people who don't, the rules are there, but they don't read what they want to. They don't see what they want to see. I mean, they see what they want to see. They don't see what's actually there. Test runs are not submissions for you to sell us on your comic book idea. Test runs are places for you to tell a story, a short story, and prove to people that you actually know how to tell a story. As I've said many times before, and this is part of how we do test flights and how we do live winner reveals, is that I'm a publisher, so I have no problem being brutally honest. And for me, when I see stuff like this, the thing I tell people all the time is that if you're not going to stick to the rules, then you run the risk of showing people not only do you not know how to follow the rules, but worse, now I'm actually like discouraged because you've given me. It's like you couldn't tell a story in 15 pages. You've got 25 pages, and you still don't tell a story. You still don't excite me. So you had more pages to set up characters and to offer subplots and to do all these various things. And literally in the story, none of these things happen. In fact, it ends somewhat on a cliffhanger, which again is part of the aspect of it being a chapter 1 and not being a short story. So this is not something we publish. And again, Ian Brown seems like a very nice young man. I'm going to read one of the questions that he submitted, that he answered here. But this right here is a perfect example of why we have pilot manga. This right here is literally a perfect example of why we have pilot manga. Because as I said at the very beginning of this with pilot manga, we created it because we had so many people who were trying, as Elijah Simon asked, who already had their webcomics built somewhere, and they wanted to know how they can get it in Saturday AM. And they never thought to ask themselves, A, would it even fit inside of Saturday AM in terms of the quality and the concept and so on and so forth, but B, the fact that what's the process to get into Saturday AM? What is that process, and do I actually have the ability to fit that process? And in this case, basically, it's trying to retrofit. It's trying to retrofit an existing concept into a test run. This was never a test run. This followed none of the test run rules. He did provide an ad, which didn't have any copy on it. He did provide a piece of fan art, which was great. It's Apple Black meets the main character Uro, I think, from his series, and he did answer some of the questions. But it was frustrating to me when I actually read through this because it was like, he did all some of these other extra pieces that are part of test flight, not test run, but then submits this stuff for test run, and it's literally not a test run. If it was a test flight, it's not a test flight. There's none of the stuff that we asked for in test flight. We're not seeing some of the things we asked to see in test flight in terms of how you construct your pages, the outdoor pages, what we're looking for in terms of diversity of perspective, things like that. None of that stuff is there. So this just doesn't fit on any level with us. Ian Brown certainly has ambition. He certainly has some talent. He certainly has the desire to want to do it. But I would suggest he goes join Pilot Manga officially, participate in some of the things inside of Pilot Manga. We'll talk about some of those here shortly, and really try to grow his craft specifically. The other way to do, in terms of growing your craft, if you're serious about this, is completely ignore me, completely ignore Saturday AM, go to Pasek or Ink Blazers, not Ink Blazers, or Smack G's or whoever, and just do your comic strip. Upload this. They won't stop you. They won't tell you what to do. They won't make you They'll do nothing specifically to you. They'll just take your content and they'll sell advertising and make money advertising because you've got a content up there that someone may accidentally get to. But they're not going to try to promote you at all, and that's fine. Do what you do it regularly, and you will improve. So that's the bottom line I can tell you there. But if you want to go through it with us, it's a different process, and it's going to require a lot more work and a lot more effort. But again, I think this was an interesting concept, a bit more complex than I think what the writer is capable of doing, and the art has a ways to go before it's getting to a level to where you can actually build an audience from a visual standpoint. So this was also a pass from us. I did want to read some comments there. We asked some of our creators questions, and one of the things that he did here was he kind of put his pitch in the question part. He said that he basically compared his work to Yu Yu Hakusho meets Avatar: The Last Airbender. And again, this is one of those things where if this were actually the pitch, that would excite me, right? You know, Yu Yu Hakusho, kind of the ghost detectives basic concept, and then Avatar: The Last Airbender, which of course is kind of philosophical world where people are reincarnated stuff. Again, given this whole legends concept and the biological arms, I don't see literally how any of that fits that. And so the pitch, in this case, again, this is kind of what I mean about fanboyism. This pitch sounds like properties that he likes, that Ian Brown likes, but in terms of the story that he thinks he's telling, or story that he actually is telling, none of that fits. Literally none of that fits. Maybe in his mind about where he wants the story to go, it fits, but in terms of the reader reading this for the first time, it just doesn't fit. And so that's, again, that's one of those challenges that sits there for a lot of new creators. And so, again, we're going to pass that with Ian Brown. One thing I did want to state here is with one of his questions that he has he says here that he wrote the two questions here. There's actually one that I just re-looked at the second one. I thought the second one was part of the third one. It's not. It's a separate question. But so we asked all the people who submit this. We asked them a couple of questions just to get a sense of mentally what they think of their work. We try to get them to self-reflect a little bit. So question 2, we asked everyone what makes you think your manga webcomic stands out from other ones, and Mr. Brown's comment was, I feel like my manga webcomic will drive like no other. I think he just meant will be successful because it's a breath of fresh air from every repetitive motion of average vengeance action, is what he said. So he's got a bit more there, but that stood out to me because I remember reading that, thinking to myself, this is literally like every other vengeance action manga. There's nothing about this that's different. What would have been crazy different if we saw how badass the character was for the first 3 or 4 pages. We get some plot, we get some other stuff, and at the very end, instead of fighting the other character, he decides to just forgive the character. That would have been different from every other vengeance manga, blah, blah, blah. What's in the story is literally what you would imagine someone who's never actually told a story before and wanting to tell an action story would do, and it's literally that. There's nothing here that's unique about the stuff there, and right down to swords and so forth. I mean, there's not even like a unique weapon being used. But number 3, we had asked, what is it about the world that you think is special? And he says that he believes the world he's created as a whole, what sets it apart from all else, is that he's integrating all of his inspirations into a lifestyle and bringing a new purpose to the average mash of comics that society pushes. He strives to reach all cultures of the world, learn about them, and give all something that they can relate to. This will be a story that anyone can pick up and say, I can be a legend just like them. This, again, is one of those kind of concepts here. I certainly applaud Mr. Brown, and I wish more creators thought this way. It certainly is an element of Saturday AM that even our existing creators know I take very seriously, and I make sure that they respect this belief that we have at Saturday AM, which is that we create comics for everybody. There's nothing that, for me, and I'm not the only person who evaluates comics with our group, but there's nothing faster for me that will literally stop my interest level in your work than if I see you producing the same old sort of thing that is out there, the same old sort of thing that's out there in terms of comic strips, manga comic strips. I mean, where it's the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Japanese character. As an African American and having traveled to Japan, which many of these young people who create this content has not, I have to state that it is so infuriating to me when I think about the globalization that the world has experienced with so many young people who are on Snapchat and Facebook and the websites like Tapastic and so forth. All these places where young people are able to participate and talk to each other. And I think about that and I go to myself, but yet if you're a person of color, if you're a person of a country that's got a lot of diversity, and yet you're still trying to do what the Japanese do. That's so crazy. And so, while I found a lot of what Mr. Brown did to be just, again, not at a level to which is appropriate for us, and I think he's got a long way to go to develop his skills, I do very much applaud him for that, for the idea that he wants to reach lots of audiences and not just talk about it. I can say truthfully, in his story, when I read through his whole story, there were lots of characters of color, and I was very proud to see that. So, Mr. Brown, continue doing the work you're doing. I think you really need to address your visual work. I think you really need to address your storytelling ability, but and try to actually create a short story. Stop trying to force feed us True Legends, because that's just not it right now. But again, if you're a serious comic creator, then your idea that you've got, that's your baby, means nothing. If you are, just like if you're an actor, if you're a serious actor and you want to be a leading man, guess what? You may be a supporting actor for a very long time. You may be a supporting actor in big movies, and that may be as far as you go. It doesn't mean that you give up on your dream of being being a leading man actor or a leading actress. But you know what? Be a really damn good supporting actor. Be an actor first. And that's how I feel with some of these webcomic creators. Stop trying to sell people on your True Legends idea. And I'm not saying this to Mr. Brown, I'm saying this to everybody. Stop trying to sell people on your baby. If you're a serious webcomic creator, test run is the biggest challenge you'll ever have in your life, because if you can't tell a short story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end, that introduces us to characters, makes us care about the characters all within 15 pages, if you can't pull that off, then I hate to tell you, Tapastic won't tell you this to your face. They'll say this behind your back. Smack G's won't say this to your face. They might say it behind your back. Smack G's I don't think really even cares about that stuff. But we will tell you that you will not be a webcomic creator, period, if you can't tell a story. So focus on trying to tell a story. Tell short stories. Just get into the habit of just coming up with a story idea that's got a beginning, a middle, and end, and just do it. Just prove that you can do it. And that will be how you're able to tell your epic eventually. If you first learn how to tell a story. But this stuff of trying to cram, we had a guy, Milo Amos and Kimani Jackson, who literally submitted a concept a month ago in a test flight, and then resubmitted the same concept, mildly different. And it was worse the second time, because it was like we literally saw that they literally just took the concept, made some minor changes, and then resubmitted it. Guys, that is not the way to do it if you're serious. If you're a serious creator, that's not the way to do it. If you only have one idea, then stop. Just stop. Go find another hobby to do. If you're a serious writer, then you write. If you're a serious artist, then you draw. If you are serious working in the comic industry, then you do anything. You'll letter. You'll do social media for. You'll volunteer to do social media for us. You'll do design work for us. You'll be an editor for us. If you're serious about it, then you're going to be serious about the work that you do, not serious about the one fanboy or fangirl dream you have, because that right there is the quickest way for you not to be taken seriously. And that literally is how you have to look at the stuff. So again, I hope everyone had a chance to see it. I'm not sure if the video is working exactly, but I'm just going to shoot through here one more time to show off a bit more of Ian Brown's work. Again, I think Ian Brown's got real potential, but I think he's got a ways to go artistically, as you guys can see. And then conversely, I think he's got a ways to go with, and the story just is not there. I mean, there's a story there, but it's not a particularly winning story for us. So that is Ian Brown. So we've done Wesley Lindsay, who we've decided not to work with. We've done Ian Brown, who we decided not to work with on that particular title. Wesley Lindsay as well, we decided not to work with him on that particular title, but I do hope to see Wesley Lindsay in the future. I think Wesley's a bit further along than Ian. I hope to see Wesley Lindsay get active in pilot manga soon. And then last but not least, we have Latane Lunford, and I do hope I'm pronouncing Latane's name correctly. I do hope that also that I'm not butchering, that I'm not screwing up the gender. I believe Latane is male, but I don't want to say something incorrectly if I'm wrong about that. So we'll get to Lataine's point here shortly. I just want to again reiterate that if you have questions for us, please feel free to ask them. You can do so via our Facebook fan page. You can do so via our Facebook fan page, which is www.facebook.com/SaturdayAM. Stay tuned to the end of this. We're going to talk about a new project we'll be doing that will help readers get copies of our books, and then likewise something new we'll be doing with YouTube that we hope you guys will support. So let's see here. We don't have any new questions. If you got them, please send them because we're going to be ending this relatively soon. And then last but not least, feel free to drop them inside of other places there. So we let's see. So all right. So then we've got some stuff here. So I do want to say that we did have, and if I can't post a link right now, but we will post a link to it. That we had a young man who was in our group who we pulled out of the group because it was part of this group again who was trying to create stuff inside of our community. Now, one thing I've said before, and I'll say again, these guys are haters. He's making a point here in his note saying that we're not haters. You are haters, but and you certainly went about your activities in a way that was more than disrespectful. Joshua Michael Harper, by the way, if you guys are still connected to him, then that's ridiculous because the comments and stuff he said to us was borderline libel. I mean, so we could sue him for the silly stuff that he said. But that being said, though, these young men are finally doing something I've said for young people to do, which is that we're not for everybody, and we've never tried to be for everybody. And so, as I just said with Ian, as I just said with Wesley Lindsay, and as I was saying to this young man who shot me this note on Facebook, look, there is no Cold War because we're doing our things and have always done our thing, and you guys are hopefully doing your thing. Where there is a problem, as I said before, and I got to reiterate this one last time because I think this is such a simple point that I think gets lost. When we started Saturday AM, we did not start Saturday AM inside of Shonen Jump. I know people who work at Viz. We did not start Saturday AM off of Shonen Jump. We weren't on their website talking crap about them while trying to then get other people to join us in our cause. We didn't do that. We didn't make videos talking about how much we dislike Shonen Jump. I love Shonen. I subscribe to Shonen Jump. That being said, I have done business in Japan. I was an exchange student in Japan, and I have said consistently that as an African American male, someone who's got my background from a corporate perspective and has done the stuff that I've done that I'm very proud of, from a business standpoint, working on big properties from Yu-Gi-Oh to Halo and so on and so forth, I think I've earned the right to be very vocal about the stuff that I see happening in Japan with manga, where they do not feature characters who look like me, or look like Amit, or look like Warren Thompson, or anyone else who I think need to be respected as customers and fans of this particular genre. And I stand by that, and I really don't give a damn who has an issue with that. I could care less. We will stand for diversity. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. But we will stand for diversity. And guess what? Marvel Comics is damn sure trying their best to be diverse. DC Comics is trying their damnedest to be diverse. Everybody's trying to be diverse. That's just how it goes nowadays. So we're not out of the mainstream. In fact, our position, our DNA, and how we start our company is the position that everybody's on today. So I hope that what we've done is inspire Shonen Jump, but I will not stop criticizing respectfully the stuff that I see with Shonen Jump. And again, I'm a customer of Viz. And I don't badmouth Viz about the comics that they make. I just say, hey, I'd like to see more ethnicity put in these worlds, respectful ethnicity put in these worlds. That is different from the stuff that Warren Thompson and Joshua Michael Harper, in particular Joshua Michael Harper and Amit and some of the other guys were saying in regards to our group. There were, people were trying to create their own Saturday AM by trying to criticize the work that we were doing. And as I've said many times before, if you can do what we do, and then you can. It's hard, but it's not impossible. But if you can do what we do, then go do it. Just go do it. But to do it on our backs, as we didn't do against Viz and Shueisha, is disrespectful. To do it on our backs and then have the gall to be talking BS about us as I said before, you cannot be a journalist, a customer, and a creator. You just can't do it. You may think you can do it, and again, that's this generation of young people who grew up on the internet, but you can't do that. You lose credibility, which these guys have lost with me. So, so I don't need emails talking about, hey, we don't want a Cold War. There's no Cold War there. Why do we have a Cold War with you? We're the ones doing what we set out to do. You guys are not trying to do what we do, and I wish you luck. I honestly do. We said from the very beginning, our hope is that people would join Pilot Manga, learn and share in Pilot Manga, and then when they felt ready, go to the next level on their own, or if we choose to work with you, do it with us. We didn't choose to work with any of these guys, but we certainly chose to work with the people that we've got. Leonardo Massett, Frederick Ward, William Brody, Eli Beard, Christopher Crady, and the list goes on. So, again, I'm too old, as I've said many times before. I don't have to play these games with you. One thing I said something to them the other day, and it's something that actually I had a couple of people actually read me and say they love this statement, but I said, if the internet has now introduced people to the idea that they can be the type of customer that they want to be, that they can be rude and be disrespectful and be completely absolved of the facts like Joshua Michael Harper or Eric John Russell and so on and so forth, if they think the internet gives them that power to be like that, well, I intend for Saturday AM and my footprint to be a new type of company via the internet. And that's a company that doesn't take shit from people who don't know what they're talking about. We don't have to play that game. We're not Marvel. We're not DC. Our guys bust their ass and sacrifice time with their families to produce content that excites people from around the world. That 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 people who are jealous or envious of the stuff that we do want to galvanize their support amongst each other and lambaste us for not making them feel special. Could care less about that. And the idea that I've got to, or my guys who work for me, or we may have to do that, is ridiculous. If the internet can make them a new type of customer, then we are going to make a new type of internet company, which means that we used to respect our fans. We try to mentor those people who believe in what we're doing to create the best content, whether they work with us or not in the future. And that for those individuals who behave like jackasses, we call them out for it. And that's what we will do. And that's what I do. And that's the bottom line. That being said, Warren Thompson, Amit Singh, and a host of these guys who we kicked out of our group have got a webcomic magazine they're going to do. I hope that if we get some information about it, we can share it with you guys, and you guys will check it out. Because, again, the mission that we have in terms of webcomics, to make it more serious, to make it more respected, the mission that we have that we started from day one that has inspired guys like Warren Thompson and Joshua Michael Harper and Eric John Russell to believe that they can do it, even though they may not like us. They certainly believe enough to think they've got the balls to talk to us. They absolutely believe they now can do it because we've done it. So the fact that we've been able to inspire everyone in that path means that, yes, everyone should be trying to do this, because that's the only way to make this category something relevant, is for everybody who believes in their ability to do it to go out there and try to do it. That's the only way you can do it. And so, again, if we get the information from them in a way that we can promote them, we will. And if you guys want us to support them, I hope you do. Again, I've talked repeatedly about Sparkler Monthly. We do not know them. We do not interact with them in a regular way, in any meaningful way. But Sparkler Monthly is a stand-up group of creators. They've got a very unique concept similar to ours, except focused on female things. And we will absolutely, with no questions asked that you support them. And we get nothing out of it. And if other creators come at us and treat us with the same respect, we'll do the same thing for them. So let's hit the last creator that we've got on this list, and that is Latane Lunford. And again, I do not know if Latane is a male or female, so I apologize in advance if I say anything untoward to the creator in terms of who they are, but certainly in terms of their concept, we're going to jump right into that right now. And so Latane Lunford, you all have seen this individual's work because the ad that you may have responded to when you came to our to our page was actually featuring some of Latane's work, and I found it to be very colorful and very fun, and so I was really pleased that was out there. So let's bring this in here. Let me just make sure that that's up for you guys. There we go. All right, I'm going to now present to everybody. So let me tell you about this world. There's a little confusion. I remember some of the guys were asking us some of the creators of Saturday were asking me, what is this called? Because that we saw a couple of different titles for it, all involving the word world. I think those were related to the type of pages we were looking at. But instead, this is called World of Heroes. So it's a very kind of straightforward title. And the cover, which I'm going to get to down here, is one of the images that we used for this particular thing, and you can see it right here. And so very colorful. I love the colors on this. Coloring is one of those things that's a skill set. It's kind of like hands or feet or perspectives, like doing the perspective where it's high in the sky looking down, or a perspective that's at the bottom looking up. This is one of those things where it's really amazing when you see someone who's got the skill set of just good coloring, because coloring is not as easy as it looks. None of the stuff is as easy as it looks, but coloring in particular is not as easy as it looks, and this is fantastic. And so I must say I'm really impressed with the color of this. I remember seeing this for the first time. It kind of just made me think of old school, kind of like in Japan, just like we have in America. They kind of have those books for kids. It's kind of like rubber covers and stuff like that, and the images tend to be very kind of like simplified images of Spider-Man or Batman and things like that. And I found that to be very similar here for manga, to manga that I saw when I was in Japan. So it's I thought it was an interesting art style. It's not perfect by any stretch of imagination, but it's interesting. Let me read you some of the stuff here regarding it. World of Heroes is a fantasy world kept together by a crimson stone that is deep inside their planet called Lancia, which is later stolen by one of the 7 rulers named Mark Burian. Leaving the planet in 2 pieces known as the Underworld and Overworld, Lancia is going through its last state of existing, and it can only be restored by the power of John and Kim's love through the red gem. John is set on finding her as his last chance to love someone and hope of saving their planet. So that's the general idea of it. And so what we'll do here is I'll walk you through some of the stuff here, and I've got some of the comments some of the creators sent to me. What you see here, the test file we asked for two sequences that were sequential pages. One that was featured in indoors, and one that was featured outdoors. And again, when we ask the question in test flight, and the rules always change, it's because we want to see a variety of things, both direct that you produce, but then also indirect things that you are trying to produce, or decisions that you're making that we can look at and get a sense of your comprehension and your overall creative endeavors, right? Like what sort of things inspire you. And so in this particular case, the indoor shots here that you can see that Latane did, one of the things that we noticed was that there isn't a lot of the backgrounds, and so the backgrounds here are very limited. And so instead here in this scene, the 2 characters are basically talking, and you're looking at a particular piece that's important to the story. But the way that it kind of flows, I give credit to the fact that you actually can tell what's happening. But for example, in this panel that you're looking at here, in the top left, where the character says, "It's so beautiful, where do you get it from?" One of the things I found interesting here is that I think these are the hands holding this kind of like medallion type thing, because you can see here in the 3rd panel, directly underneath the 1st panel in the top left, that the character's hands are right underneath the thing. You can't tell because it's hard to tell what's happening here, and so this is one of the aspects here with the art that bothered me a little bit, was that it was too simplistic. It was like, it was literal. There was no expression. There was no like actual attempt to try to do something unique and different. There's no backgrounds here to speak of. We know this takes place in somewhat of like a palace, or this kind of reminds me of a hotel Intercontinental in Macau, outside of Hong Kong, because they've got 2 escalators that go down in the main lobby like this. But regardless, there's not enough here to show us a real command of the ability to tell a decent scene via indoors. And it's too easy to chalk it up as being, well, the art, the artist is obviously not very mature as an artist yet. That's too easy of a complaint to make. But this was something that just, again, when I saw it, this did not pass the particular things we look for here. One thing I will give credit for is I thought the lettering was well for the most part. I also like the fact, if you look at the third panel again, where we see the young girl who's got her hands underneath the medallion, when you see the way that the copy, like her thoughts are written there, it's not in a bubble, it's just kind of without bubble. I actually love that, because that is that's a standard trick that you see in Japanese manga. That's how they do it. They rarely do thought balloons. This is how they typically do it. And so I thought it was really cool to see that. Next up, we see John Hendrickson. And to talk a little bit about the Subgnosis, again, I was immediately taken out of Subgnosis. There was no pitch. So I was taken out of Subgnosis because World of Heroes, I'm sorry, there was a pitch, but it was Romeo and Juliet, I think, meets Tsubasa Chronicles, I think was it. And I don't know enough about Tsubasa Chronicles. I know it comes from the female artist group who did several manga, Tsubasa Chronicles, and a bunch of other stuff. But I just don't know enough about it. I know it was a big I think it's called X-Holic, maybe, or something like that. But I don't know enough about them, so unfortunately I couldn't draw the reference very well. And it kind of surprised me, because when you read the Subgnosis, as complicated as Subgnosis is, it's fairly straightforward, right? It's like, boy wants to, find this romance and save the world. But regardless, this again makes some of the mistakes I think a lot of Subgnosis try to make, which is they tag so much material into it. And it's like, I don't need to know the name. I mean, the name of the world, fine, Atlantia. But some of the other stuff, the stuff here about, that Atlantia is going through its final state of existence. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means at all. John and Kim's love through the red gem is what's going to restore it. I don't know who John is. I don't know who Kim is. But I do know that the Crimson Stone is stolen by someone named Mark Buren, who I don't know who the hell he is. So these are sort of things where it's like the creator does not really grasp the ability to tell the story and to harness on the things that actually are important for the reader. Again, I love the style to a degree. I mean, again, the feet here are not great. That's me being nice about it. But as far as the color scheme goes, I mean, I think Latane has a hell of a future as a colorist. I don't know if art and writing is it, but coloring definitely. Anyway, then we get to the outdoor scenes here. This panel I thought was awesome. I actually did like that panel, because I liked how you had this perspective shot, and then you can see, this is the second panel that it's on, and you can see the outdoors down this this kind of tunnel he's walking down. I thought that was pretty sweet, even though artistically it's not the best. But that's a complicated and very imaginative looking panel. I also really like the panel here where the character is surprised at something being said. You can see here the look on their face. So, like I said, there were a couple of tricks here were great, but in terms of this being outdoor, again, didn't really get a sense much of this being outdoor in exactly what all was engaged with the outdoor. I mean, but there were some different perspectives here, and I did like that. So again, I think Latane has. I mean, this is not something that we will work with or work on. I don't see World of Heroes having, for us, a unique enough concept to actually drive us. If the romance was played more in the pages that we looked at, so I could get a sense of what the romance was really meant to be for the story. Was it meant to be comedic, like Romancing the Stone, an old 1980s movie? Was it meant to be, or Inuyasha? Was it meant to be more serious? Was it meant to be more, kind of sweeping, big romantic sort of thing, like Outlander on Showtime? I don't know what the romance, which he hinted at in the Subgnosis, is meant to do, because I didn't see any of that in the story, in the pages that were submitted, the 5 pages that were submitted. And so that's one element, but that would have been it. I mean, the art here is just not strong enough artistically to grab, I think, the sort of readership that we have. And again, I think Latane is suffering from what a lot of these creators suffer from, which they think a serious story, or a story that makes them a serious webcomic creator, has to be packed and loaded with all sorts of ideas. When the truth is that the more simple you have of an idea and concept, the stronger your ability to reach readers is. And this, again, was one of the complaints I have with this Eric John Russell guy when he attacked Raven Brown's Bully Eater. Bully Eater succeeds, and Bully Eater is very popular, and it succeeds because it is very straightforward. This is a guy who fights bullies. We're working on this big crossover called Saturday Wars, and it's one of the things that I'm actually writing it. It's one of the things that that I love about the character of Asao from Bullet You. He's actually one of the main characters of this crossover with Apple Black and Sagami and Islanders and everything. And one of the things I love about Asao is that, he's not the smartest guy in the world, because to him it really is that simple. Like there's a scene where he meets Sano and all the characters for the first time, and they're all talking. They say, well, what do you do? He's like, well, I fight bullies. And they're like, no, but what else do you do? He's like, well, I fight bullies. And that's it. I mean, that's it for him. So that simplicity is just great, and it's what makes Blue Eater such a fun comic book. Again, it's lost on the self-serious silliness of people like Eric John Russell and some of our critics, but regardless, that's exactly what we're looking for. And I think in this particular case here, you can be serious. Apple Black is very serious and very complicated. You can have that, but I didn't get a sense here that you know how to pull that off. I didn't get a sense here that your artwork would support that. And I felt like, again, that I don't really know I didn't get a sense of anything you're trying to do here, because there just wasn't enough there to the story. It was too complicated, and then what you presented was too simple. But there was no kind of nuance and unique creativity given to anything in particular that makes me go, oh, I get what this could be for us, or I get what this could be to a reader. It's just kind of bland, honestly. And so fortunately, that's kind of where we stand on World of Heroes. So again, these are we looked at World of Heroes, we looked at Phantom Reign, and we looked at the other one was called let's see, Phantom Reign, World of Heroes, and the last one we looked at from Ian Brown was called True Legends. Sorry, True Legends. And yeah, and so in all three of those cases, both test runs and the test flights, these are not properties at this point that we can work with. And again, just to reiterate, for those of you who maybe came in late or don't understand, this Pilot Manga test flight, test run, and Pilot Manga in general is our community, our private community for serious webcomic creators who want to learn how to improve their craft, want to learn some of the techniques to continue to be inspired. I mean, one of the biggest challenges that webcomic creators have, and I think we see that in these three titles, not just kind of pulling away that fanboy mentality of trying to do the fanboy thing with the concept and not really try to tell a story, but the other part of it is really struggling with just telling a story. It's like you have so many ideas, and trying to distill it down to something that is meant to actually excite people is really difficult. It's really, really difficult. And again, a lot of these other websites that are out there that are involved in webcomics, they don't actually tell you about this stuff. Maybe they do in their forums. I'm a member of all the forums. Maybe they do. I've never seen it personally, but it really is hard. And so in Pilot Manga, we try to talk about these things. We try to get readers to look at these things, and of course we discuss them here in these test flights. So if you're serious about webcomics, if you really want to take a stab at it, or if you're serious about trying to submit your work to Saturday AM, it is imperative that you join Pilot Manga. It is not open admission, just like our magazine is not. We're not like the other websites at all. So if you want to try to join Pilot Manga, go to the Pilot Manga page on our website, click the information about it, and then follow the link, and then request admission. And we will review your entry. We'll look at who you are on Facebook and stuff like that. Make sure that you seem like someone who A, does take this stuff seriously, and then B, is trustworthy with your artwork. We don't want people trying to steal each other's artwork and stuff. And then if everything checks out, we'll admit you into the group, and then from there, it's all about taking advantage of what we have. And by that, what I mean is that when you've got the sort of feedback that we can muster, take it seriously, interact with your creators, posit ideas, discuss things, participate in discussions that are being had. If we do small little contests, like hey, we're doing something for the Women's World Cup, participate in that. I can't reiterate that enough. Participate in that, because to not participate in that means that you're, again, are back to this point we just talked about these three guys, where you're literally putting everything, all of your eggs in one basket of, well, they're going to love this one idea I've got, and so I'm going to put everything into this one idea I've got. And just like the real world, if I don't, or we don't like that one idea you've got, then what do you do at that point? What do you do at that point if we don't all like your idea? So, I can't reiterate enough. If I say this all the time, artists draw. They don't draw what they want to draw all the time. They draw everything. Writers write. We've had this problem with a couple of people, again, who were part of that little clique that we kicked out, who were quote-unquote writers. And I would say to them, well, why don't you write like an article about, San Diego Comic-Con? Why don't you do some writing instead of trying to dream up these weird worlds and so forth. Just do some writing. Just get into the act of writing, and they just wouldn't do it. Or they would claim that that's not what they're about. Or we get these kind of silly responses. If you're a writer, you write. You know, I can't tell you how many people who write novels actually got started reading comic books. I can't tell you how many people who write novels who actually started writing for their local newspaper. And that's how they got into the bug of understanding how to write. Write. It's that simple. And if you're serious about webcomics in general, then just get involved in webcomics to whatever level you can. If it means that you're going to be doing editing, then do editing and take the editing seriously. You know, there's one thing that we got some volunteers right now who are doing editing, and one thing that we just I make it very clear: do not try to join us and do lettering. I mean, and do editing. I'm sorry, and still be trying to be a writer. Don't do that. Be an editor. Learn how to interact with creators. Learn how to help them craft their stories better. Learn how to do those things because as I said about our critics, you can't be a creator. You can't want to be creator, full creator. You can't be a journalist. You can't be a customer all at the same time. That is ridiculous. That is literally ridiculous. You just can't do it. And you know some bullshit is going down when you see somebody trying to be all three of those things at once. They are a fan of the property. They hate the property. They're a journalist telling you about everything that's wrong with the property. They want you to check out their comic book as well. Blah, 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 blah. There's some bullshit going down when you see somebody trying to be all three things. And it's the same thing when you're serious about something. Just to put this in a better respect, if you're serious about a girl or guy you're dating and you're trying to date other people, then you're not serious. Be good at one thing and be really good at that thing and take it seriously. And that's just 41-year-old male logic for you, but that's the truth. So, all right. So again, we had some great views tonight. I want to thank everyone for checking out Pilot Manga. So just to recap, we just reviewed 3 properties on our test flight and test run that were submitted last week. They didn't make it in time, but we reviewed them anyways. We didn't decide to work with any of those creators, but we do have a host of amazing creators. Nathan Alhondo is going to be leading that charge from the last test flight with Hollow Man. I'm telling you right now that I think it's going to be the next Death Note. If we're successful working with Nathan, and Nathan is successful listening and bringing his A game to his to his idea that he had from a creative standpoint, if all that stuff comes together, you're going to be looking at the next Death Note. Chain Black, which also came from Pilot Manga, is going to be inside of Saturday Plus. Hollow Man will debut in Saturday Plus at some point in the near future. We've got some really exciting things coming up. So I can't wait for you guys to see everything that we've got planned. One thing as well that we've got coming up that I think you guys will really like is we will be doing a couple of things. We've got single issues. Again, we support our company, we support our business through. Let me turn the camera on. Actually, I'll turn the camera on there. Everybody. So we support our business really in 2 ways, right? So the first way is that we do our digital magazine. It's our digital magazine a la Shonen Jump. So you can subscribe to that for $5 a year. Let me repeat this: $5 a year. You can do it via PayPal, credit card, whatever. Those 2 things actually, not chicken scratch or pencil shavings or anything like that. But 2 things: PayPal or credit card, and you get that sent to your email. You're able to download each issue. You get 20 issues for $5 a year. Now we have a second level subscription that we highly encourage people to try, which is $25. And in the $25 you get a free T-shirt, which we'll be showing everybody. I think next week. I believe next week we're going to have a special YouTube chat. We're going to show you guys the T-shirt. We're going to show you guys the trading cards. We're going to show you guys all the stuff you get if you are a premium subscriber. And we're going to be sending those kits out very soon. So free T-shirt. It's got the Saturday M logo on it. Trading cards, which will have exclusive art that you will not see anywhere else of your main character, of all of our main series. There's No to Heaven. There's Monster Society of America. There's Apple Black, Bullet Eater, Islanders, massively multiplayer World of Ghosts, everything. So it's really awesome, and you're only going to be able to buy those things inside of our store, which we'll talk about in a second, or at conventions in terms of actually getting all the cards, because otherwise you just be getting random cards. So we're really excited about the trading card piece. But again, if you subscribe, you get a set of those, not the full set, but you'll get a handful of those immediately, and they'll include some of the rare cards that we're going to have. These are legitimate trading cards, folks. These are not, again, we're not like every other webcomic place out there. We do real shit. So you're going to get a trading card that's going to be really badass. You're going to get 15% off on all things we do, so T-shirts, prints, whoops. I'm trying to get it here, folks. There we go. Saturday tanks like Apple Black and, of course, the beautiful Saigami. 15% off on these bad boys. Can you believe that? So you get 15% off on them and every tank that we do from here on out. So if you haven't bought them yet, if you become a premium subscriber, you get 50% off everything that we do in the future, of shirts and so on and so forth. Prints like this beautiful Bully Eater print right here, and more that we've got coming. Look at that. It's a beautiful looking print right there. That's Raymond Brown, ladies and gentlemen. So we're really excited about the new member kit. And so again, that helps us tremendously in terms of the company, because without that funding, we can't keep everything afloat. And of course, our books and so on and so forth. One thing we're going to be doing that we're just announcing, and we're going to be showing more of this stuff very soon, is we're debuting something that's going to be really awesome. And for everyone in Pilot Manga who's watching this, pay attention. We're going to be doing, actually, I'm sorry, one thing, I went too far there. So single issues, because you can subscribe, you can buy single issues for $1.99. We're going to now start doing just small things, like we're going to just occasionally just pop up and do like hey, first 50 people get this issue for free, and it'll always be our latest issue. So we're going to be doing that in the next couple of days. Stay plugged into our Twitter. Stay plugged into our Facebook. If you're not a fan of our Facebook, become a fan of our Facebook. Become a fan of our Instagram account. All of those links you can find on our website. Follow us on social media, because when we do this, when we start kicking this off, you're going to be able to get a free issue. So if you want to try Saturday AM out and you've never had a chance to check it out, you're not quite sure you want to spend the money you'd spend at McDonald's on us, which is really screwed up, then if we do not match your McDonald's habit, then you've got a problem. But regardless, if you want to check that out, pay attention to us in the next couple of days. We're going to start this program, and we'll do it randomly. It'll be random, but it'll be something we announce only on social media, and it's the first 50 people to come there, plug in that code, download the comic book, there you go. And so, in issue 29, of course, features our first horror webcomic. I'm telling you, it's going to be huge, called No to Heaven. That hits, that is in the issue, and that hits in the fall. That starts coming in the Saturday AM premium subscribers in the fall. So if you want to check it out now, do so. And we'll be doing back issues with the same program. We're going to be kicking it off very soon. Likewise, we'll be giving away single issues occasionally when we have a new YouTube show that we'll be doing Sunday nights. We're actually going to start it tomorrow night. And the basic idea is basically it's me, it's you, there's some special guests, and we just geek out. It's going to be called Saturday AM Geeking Out. And we're just going to be geeking out. We're going to be having fun, talking about your favorite comic books, your favorite comic movies, Marvel vs. DC, Attack on Titan's trailer, all that stuff. We get these questions all the time. We're all big geeks and nerds. We talk about this stuff all the time. So we're going to be doing this officially every Sunday night. It's going to be late Sunday nights, but so those of you who are in another country may be kind of screwed, but it's going to be late. But either way, it's going to be fun. It's going to be open. You join on, you talk, you have fun. It's that. It's going to be about 30 minutes every Sunday night. We're just going to have fun and geeking out. The marketplace, last thing I want to say about the marketplace is that that will launch in August. So we're going to go on break after the 30th issue, which features a beautiful white manga cover, by the way. In fact, I'll see if I can bring that up while we're talking. But as we go through this process, the marketplace that we're going to be producing, our store is going to be going away. It's going to be a new marketplace up there. And the marketplace, the general idea with the marketplace is that we want to have a one-stop shop for all things Saturday AM. And you say to yourself, well, you've got that now. And we actually don't, but we will. This will be a place where you can find prints that you've never seen before. This will be a place where you can buy the trading cards that our subscribers will get some of the rare cards by subscribing. You'll be able to buy individual cards, the set of cards, everything, right there on the site. You'll be able to buy Saturday tanks right there on our website. You'll be able to buy brand new clothing. And this is the big one, brand new clothing. shirts that have a variety of wild designs that you've never seen from our artists and our properties. So really awesome shirts. Whether or not the property has been around for a while, like Wanted Dead or Dead is currently on hiatus, so is Rough House, you'll still see really awesome kick-ass shirts from those properties on the website. The best part, though, the best part is that Pilot Manga creators will get to participate. We'll have contests inside of Pilot Manga for creators who maybe you don't feel like you're ready to do a webcomic, maybe you don't feel like you're Saturday AM material, but you want to learn stuff inside of Pilot Manga. That's perfectly fine. Come on in. But you've got a really awesome design that you want to put out there, put on our website with our traffic and our fan base and say, hey, I want to sell that shirt. Our rates will be upfront for you. You won't pay anything. We only have an exclusive on the shirt design on our site, but you will make the lion's share of the money. It'll be very transparent, and you'll have a chance to actually tell your friends and family, hey, I'm on Saturday M's website. I got this sick shirt. Check it out. Support me. Support my starving artist, lifestyle, so on and so forth. You'll be able to do that right there on our website. We'll expand that eventually to prints as well, but for right now, we have some amazing T-shirt design. When you guys see the T-shirts that we've been working on for the last several months, it's going to blow your mind. So if you buy shirts off of Shopify, off of Topatico, which is a bunch of other webcomics, if you buy shirts from Redbubble and those sites, check out Saturday AM shirts. They're quality, and you'll see this next week when we do our video. They're quality. They're going to be priced as good as we can get it. I mean, none of these are going to be $6 shirts. None of these are going to be $10 shirts, but they're going to be reasonable price for the amount of quality and talent that we've got deployed for the shirts. They're going to be diverse. I mean, it's going to have all sorts of cool designs, imagery, concepts, everything that you can imagine, panels from our comic strips, whatever we think makes a sick shirt that someone would wear and still look cool, you're going to have those. This is literally one of the most exciting things we're doing. We've got a lot of exciting things coming up. Again, the trading cards, Saturday AM with all the new series that are coming to Saturday AM, Afternoon WebX with all the new series coming to WebX, Saturday Plus with some of the best up-and-coming webcomic creators in the world in our Pilot Manga group, getting a chance to actually tell their pilot chapter of their concept right in Saturday Plus. And you, of course, get to check it out and see if these creators have what it takes to actually make it in Saturday AM. Last year for Saturday Plus, I've said this many times, we launched with 4 creators, all talented. Only 2 made it out of Saturday Plus. Only 2 finished Saturday Plus, made it out, and now Leonardo Masterson is in Saturday AM, and Frederick Ward is inside of Afternoon WebX. The other 2 creators, who are amazingly talented, didn't make it in. So that's just something to keep in mind in terms of all the exciting stuff we have coming up. And we have more tanks coming. Z Forever by Mark Reed, Spoon by David Yoon, Bully Eater by Raymond Brown, and of course, additional tanks coming after that from, you can imagine, some of the creators, Andrew Sterling, Leonardo Massip, and so on. So I'm so excited with where we are right now. I can't speak more highly about the sort of things that we're doing and the sort of opportunities that we've got. But to finish this episode off nicely, I will show you guys the cover for issue 30. It features artwork by the one and only White Manga, and it is, let's see here, just give me 1 second here. It features artwork from White Manga, and it also features an extra large installment of Apple Black. Let's see here. That didn't come up exactly. Let me pull it up here for you guys. I'm gonna get it going here. Hold on a sec here. All right. All right. I hope you guys can see that there. Well, you guys can see some of the cover there. I don't know why it is not giving you guys the chance to see the whole cover here. Let's see. One last try here, guys. Again, this is Google Drive. I thought we had it figured out here, but I guess not. Let's see here. Hmm. Wow, that's astonishing that we cannot get this video. We cannot get that image up. That is pretty crazy. Let me see here. I'll just see if I can't. I think that came up there. There we go. Finally. There we go. Finally. That is a damn shame. But anyways, this is the cover, ladies and gentlemen, to issue number 30, featuring artwork by Nigeria's White Manga, one of our co-founders in the company, our most popular creator, easily one of the best properties for manga webcomic action that you can find on the internet. And it features the return of Apple Black. Because remember, Apple Black was last seen in issue 25, I think, or 26. And then we had White take a hiatus so we could finish up some of the work he was doing in some other places and get things moving for the return. So, again, issue 30 will be out this coming Wednesday. It features Islanders, extra large experience of Apple Black, and it features Bully Eater. And after issue 30 comes out, we will then be on a break. Saturday AM will not return until the end of August with issue 31, which will debut with a special manga that you won't have seen. And likewise, meantime, though, there will continue to be African WebX. We will also debut Saturday Plus, issue number 8, which features Chain Black and a couple of other titles, Explosion Joe and Atomi Life. And we will also have, starting in August, we will also debut the Saturday in Marketplace, which will have some other great, exciting things that we just talked about. Test runs will also start back up here very soon. In fact, it starts next Thursday. And the title that will be running during Saturday Plus, let me check my notes here, see what title that will be debuting in Saturday Plus. In Test Run, I'm sorry, is, let's see here. Let's see. Unfortunately, I thought we had a list here, but we do not. So I do apologize for that. The title, we've got several titles that will be a part of Saturday of Test Run that you'll be able to check out for free on our site. That will begin next week, next Thursday, as a matter of fact. And so as soon as we have that list, we will make that available for you guys. I'm actually trying to see if I've got it in one other location here. And then after that, again, we'll be returned with issue 31 of Saturday AM towards the end of August. And of course, don't forget Saturday AM Geeking Out, our brand new YouTube show, where we just chat about cool, geeky stuff from music, anime, manga, webcomics, and comic books. We're just going to geek out about that stuff. And we start that tomorrow evening. I'll have a special thing you guys can look at for that, a blog post about that, advertising the time and the way for you to join in on that experience. And let's see, I'm just trying to pull up here. I think I've got the groups that will be starting the schedule here. So test run, let's see. So yeah, so the first test run will be Abram Moss, Soul's Light will be the first test run. It will be followed up 2 weeks later by Abdel Ingalore, Nietzsche the Archetype. So again, Abram Moss, Soul's Light will be our first test run, and that will feature starting next. Next Thursday. Let's see here, and we had a couple of questions, and I'll get these real quickly, and then we'll wrap it up. Andre Roberts asked, "Will you be taking one-shot comics in the future?" And yes, Andre, we've talked about this. We're going to be doing test runs, which I just talked about. These are one-shot, 15-page stories. And so that's the definition of a one-shot. So we'll be doing those. We'll be basically starting those tomorrow in terms of the submission period. You guys can then at that point submit 15-page stories whenever you want. We'll review them every 2 weeks, and we will run them. We'll actually have a little special show where we'll talk about the content. We won't review it, but we'll talk a little bit like we did tonight about things that we kind of liked about it, didn't like about it, and then we'll either run it on our site or we won't. And so that's pretty much that. Turnus Poe asked, what are the plans for the writing program? And Turnus, thank you for asking that question. That actually leads to 2 points I want to make before I finish up tonight. The first one is, so we have sub groups, and our pilot manga. Our pilot manga is big. It's about 350 people, I think, roughly. And as you guys can imagine, like I said, we kicked some people out, and we probably will kick some more people out. It's very difficult to manage that and do everything else that we do. I mean, this is why, I see often that what we're doing is revolutionary, because people don't even do what we do when they've got money. The stuff that we're doing is amazing when you think about the fact we have no money. And so from that perspective, we are very focused and trying very hard to create the community within pilot manga to be both respectful of each other and at the same time to recognize and be a part of what we're trying to build. And so again, if people feel frustrated because we're not giving them, or they're not getting the sort of critiques that they want to get, but then again they're not participating in pilot manga test flights or test runs, my comment to you would be you probably need to leave the group, or we'll remove you from the group, because the group only functions when you believe in the sort of thing we're trying to do and you're actively participating. If you're not participating and then you're whining about not getting the sort of attention you deserve to get, I don't know how to respond to that. So we have these subgroups. We've asked in the past for volunteers. We get no volunteers. We get people who are interested in it because they're wanting to get that exposure. They're wanting to get that attention directed towards them. But when it comes time to actually put up and actually get involved, they don't want to do that. And so we actually had a few people that we've been reaching out to that we think kind of anchor this, but we're looking for volunteers. We have some definitive plans for the writing program, very specific plans for the writing program. We have a couple of guys right now that we're mentoring as writers and some other things, and it's going very well, I must say. And so I think the idea that we have for the writing program will come down to getting some volunteers, frankly. We're looking for editorial volunteers. Again, if you're trying to be an editor and a writer, don't contact us. But if you are really excited about editing and want to play a role in the growth of Saturday AM, contact us. If you want to play a role in social media, contact us. You want to play a role in design, like helping us design a website, contact us. We're looking for all those things. But we're also looking for help inside of our pilot manga program. So we'll be talking more about it, Turnus, some of the plans we have for the writing piece. But again, to the point that we're going to probably remove a few people from the group, and likewise admit a few people, and then conversely try to get some people who are in the group to step up and say, hey, look, I believe in what this group is. I want to help kind of organize some things in the group, because the writers subgroup as well as the women's subgroup requires our creators simply don't have the time, and I'm already maxed out running three different categories that we offer, mentoring a lot of new creators and so on and so forth, and trying to handle business aspects with it. So if we had some creators pilot manga members who were wanting to play a role in it, then we would work with you to help you get set up with the stuff that you'll need and then help you craft it. We'll be involved with it. It's just we can't be the chief organizers of it, and we need some people who can actually help organize it. But we've got some very cool plans for a writing program. It includes software that we can provide you and all sorts of cool stuff. So it's imperative that we get some help trying to get that kicked off. Same thing with the women's subgroup. So Turnus, if you have some suggestions or if you have desire to want to help with that, I hope you reach out to us. And that goes for everybody in pilot manga. So guys, that's it. We had some really amazing traffic tonight. Some fantastic questions, as we saw from Andre and Turnus. We just, everybody here was very cool. So I really appreciate everyone being actively involved and actively engaged. So that's essentially it. I want to base again that I appreciate you guys getting involved. I appreciate you guys supporting what we do. I appreciate you guys believing in the idea that manga and webcomics have a long way to go. And the only way it's going to get there is if those of us who care about the category and care about representation are playing an active role in making it happen. As I said tonight, we've inspired our fair share of haters, and we've inspired a fair share of people who believe in what we're doing. And so to that end, we're going to continue doing what we do. We hope you continue to support us, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night for Saturday Q&A or Saturday AM Geeking Out. That's it. My name is Frederick Jones, guys. Thanks so much for checking us out. Please subscribe, support us, buy our issues, buy our Saturday Tanks, and look out for that marketplace that's coming up. It is going to be awesome. Thanks again, guys. Check out issue 30 coming out Wednesday. Bye.